Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on the Train the Trainer podcast series. And today we have two very special trainers whom I have had the chance to work with. And both of them have worked in the aviation sector and they have also worked in multiple other fields. And currently, both of them are behavioral and soft skills trainers. Our guests are Binu and Ranjini Sheshadri. Ranjini is a CELTA certified trainer and she has been a master trainer for IELTS, OET, and TOEFL. She has worked with the prestigious British Council as a trainer and as an education consultant as well. And she also started her career with the aviation industry, and she has worked with banking, PR, cultural relations, and school education as well. She has trained diverse learners across the globe, including students from Vietnam, Australia, Dubai, Egypt, Italy, as well as IT and ITES professionals, banking teams, and college students. She has also worked as a teacher educator. In addition to that, Ranjani is someone who loves helping her fellow trainers. She keeps on telling us about the opportunities that come up, whether it is freelancing or the full time opportunities. And when I worked with her, she was also very helpful in uh, letting the new trainers in the company know about what they should do, what they shouldn't do, where can they go to get things that they want, and so on. So a very helpful trainer and a teacher trainer. Thank you so much for joining us, Ranjani.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I'm humbled. I mean, I'm like really, I'm taken aback with those kind words. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction.
Pleasure. And she is also a biker. She loves Royal Enfield. So let me add that too. That's something that she consistently does it every week or every month on long bike rides. Well, our the other guest we have today is Binu Kurian. Binu is brings several years of experience from diverse fields, particularly in airline and hospitality industry. He has worked with the operations part of it, and he has also worked with the customer service. He has been a part of the cabin crew in Qatar. Qatar, right? Kuwait Airways, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Kuwait
That's right.
Airways, sorry. And so he brings his diverse experience. He has been a learning and development professional for over 8 years. He has also worked as an HR. He has this rich 30-year career. Now he is fully immersed in life skills, executive career coaching, and behavioral training. And when he's not training, he explores his passion towards acting. He has tried different things in modeling earlier, and now he also, he's also good at reviewing the outlets that we hang out for eating. So he loves reviewing restaurants, hotels, and so on. He is someone who enjoys knowing more about people and learning different things from them. 30 years of experience hasn't stopped him from learning. It is only prompting him to learn more and connect with people as much as possible. So thank you so much for joining us, Binu.
Yeah, Balaji, it is really, I think you've done a lot of hard work. I mean, knowing me, and thank you very much for this humble introduction. And I'm humbled, I would say. Okay, thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Binu. Well, now I'd like to get started with a question. And both of you have worked in the aviation industry. And when I was asking Ranjini about Binu, I said Binu has worked in Chennai, Trivandrum, and Kuwait, but he's very good at Hindi as well. How does that happen? I mean, none of these three places, as far as you know, Hindi is not very common language in any of these three places, and that is when Ranjini told me uh, the aviation industry teaches you a lot of things, and language is one of them. So, Ranjini, please tell us, what did aviation industry teach you?
Okay, thanks. That was a lovely question, actually, and I love that the prologue before that question. So, uh, aviation is my first employer. Yeah, that was my first employment, and I can mention the airline. So I used to work with Jet Airways.
Mhm.
So whatever I am today, Balaji, I owe a portion of it to Jet Airways. Because it molds the staff into a different, a different personality altogether when we get into the aviation industry. The reason I feel is because we get to meet different people every single day.
Mm.
Our repeat customers are only about, say, 5 to 10%. The rest of the 90% are new people that we meet every day. So there's lots of learning that we, right from our languages to the way we speak to the way we, the way we interact with people, our communicative skills, our interpersonal skills. All of that is actually, something that the aviation teaches us, but it does not have it in its curriculum, like say in pen and paper. But then there's this lesson that just comes in every time we walk into the airport. So yes,
Wonderful.
that's
That's a lot of things to understand and learn every day. And when you do not know whom you are going to meet, it's going to be quite a challenge. Uh, Binu, tell us about your experience with aviation.
Yeah, like Ranjini said, it's every day is a new day.
Mhm.
See, what I am today, I give credit to, I mean, whatever I am with my. So I started with the career with hospitality, basically with Oberoi. So I started here in Trident in Chennai. That's what made me, Chennai has a very special, I don't know what to say, place that, time off often it has made me to come here. So I'm coming back to Chennai after almost 22 years, to be very honest, to be with you people. So I started my career with Trident. So I was basically an Oberoi product and worked there. From there, that was my that is also basically hospitality. So
Mhm.
I learned all the things, the front area, the back areas, except the cooking. I'm very bad in that, but I can manage. But still, enjoyed meeting people. So that experience has paid me a way to get into as cabin crew. And I have tried for Air India and everything, but many times I failed. And the destiny would have been, the person who was traveling was very wanted to get into airline, didn't get through. And I was literally not very keen to get into airline. I got through. So when it shows a hand, I have to take it up. So I took it and I went in. Then, like Ranjini has pointed out, see, it's more of adaptability. See, people are all of comfort zone, every that's a very dangerous zone where we are all in. It sometimes happens. In airlines, we have to adapt to any situations, especially when you're flying an aircraft.
Mm.
You meet a lot of people. There are a lot of challenging situations. You meet with different temperamental people. Every day is a new day. So it has really helped me to improve my language, improve my communication skills. Most important thing, adaptability. I can use in everywhere, anywhere, at any time, and be adaptable. And the most other important personal thing I learned was respect. When you're working with different nationalities, we have a habit of getting into Indians, Pakistanis, whatever nationalities. But then you start working with other nationalities, tend to understand him, the way of their thinking. So the respect is one thing which we all should carry. I even tell my everyone who, so without respect, none of the relations works. Think about it. If you don't respect the time, nothing works. If you don't respect your elders, nothing works. If you don't respect the young kid, they don't show the respect to you. Even a small 3 year old, if you don't show the respect to him, he will not even mind you. That's why the world is turned up. So I think everything boils on the respect. And that's one key thing that we should all think about interpersonal skills. I
Um,
hope, yeah, that's one point. So I did it communication, adaptability, and the way to respect people I learned from the trade of
Wonderful.
hospitality. Mm.
Great.
Yeah.
Binu, when you mentioned about your work in the airline industry, you mentioned that you have been a part of the cabin crew as well. So here in India, I have barely seen men working as a part of the cabin crew. So tell us about your experience of working as a cabin crew member. Do you, and also if anyone watching wants to take it up, tell us if it's a well-paying job as well.
Yeah, it's just, basically in 80s to 90s or 2000, there are a lot of recruitments happening for gents as well. It was basically 50-50.
Mm.
It's like, when you say somebody works as this cabin crew terminology has only recently came after 2000. So when
Okay.
somebody is working in airline, it is already termed as air hostess, nothing else,
Mm.
whether it's a male or a female. Okay, it's air hostess. You think when you're our childhood and everything, even I have very difficulty in convincing people, what do you do? I fly. What do you do? You're flying a, aircraft? No. So then somebody will ask, and especially from my hometown and everything, air hostess, huh? So what, that is a word that would, it's just specifically meant for ladies.
Mm.
But till 2003 and 4, or maybe 2010, there are a lot of recruitments happening. But off late, we see most of this airlines have gone for females. I mean,
Mhm.
the reason I feel, I don't know, could be true or wrong. I could be because most of the airlines are low cost airlines. You understand?
Mm.
And
Mhm.
the proportion of weight, the other gender is having a less weight, which is having a proportion to the aviation the fuel. So they can, all these connections are there. So they have reduced. Now it has become almost 60-40. You know,
Okay. Mm.
and I was told that, a couple of the new airlines, except this Indigo and other airlines, have started rethinking of, increasing the, gender ratio. So maybe down the line, it will be more. I mean, in the sense, it will be 50-50 because it is a glamorous industry. So people love to see that. And it's also a hectic industry that it has to mix and match.
Okay. So, and how long do you think it takes for a person to get a pay that they are satisfied with as a cabin crew member?
See, now it is not like earlier days. You have to
Mm.
start. I think that is what you have to start. I don't know the pay packet. I know also, but I don't want to discourage the people. So
Yeah. Okay.
you have to climb up. Maybe the first 1 year
Okay.
or 2 years is really.
Mm.
But there are a lot of positive experience which I want to tell you
Mm.
because the person is getting hired. No, Air India Express is hiring people. I mean, I just heard it 2-3 months back. So they get a lot of to travel to the destinations, and it is not easy. You may sleep one
Mm.
day there, the very next day morning you have to fly out. It is a taxing thing, but a lot of experience will come through exploring this destination. If you're a foodie and everything, you can explore that. And at young age, it is very good, and
Mm.
it's a very dynamic environment. Where we need meet new people, not only customers. The entire crew gets changed. Today, I'm working with Ranjini or you. Tomorrow, I don't see Ranjini for ages. Maybe one flight after 2-3 weeks, I see her. So it's just we make a family out of it. Basically,
Mm.
whenever we are there, we try to see that's our immediate family. You understand? So that is where you adjust a lot because all your sorrows, your sickness and everything, nobody's to take care. So it's maybe people have different perspective of this industry because it is glamorous, but then the immediate friend, we have to trust them, and it becomes that relationship becomes very open and transparent, and you tend to stretch out the hand. There are people of Chennai or Bombay or Delhi carrying tiffins for us. You understand? So, we miss home food. So that is one. So there is excellent training programs. When we were there, excellent programs were there. Even I have a lot of colleagues who worked in Jet and all that. A lot of good training. Beautiful modules. Customer handling. Ranjini can vouch for it, right, Ranjini? Maybe airline handling, the
Right.
airport handling. She will tell you. So it's beautiful documents. And meeting. Thinking ahead of it, what it is. So then. Obviously, there are a lot of benefits, perks, benefits. You get free travel, but there are misuse of things. I mean, people have misused it. The free benefits are all getting cut. That is also there. Okay, so 90%, 80% rebate. A lot of things are free tickets, but then post-COVID, there are a lot of little, cut in everything. But there are benefits. There is plus and minus.
Mhm.
People want to put, and it is not easy. Okay, you
Understood.
miss your family, you leave in your suitcases, your sleep is disturbed. So when you're young, maybe you're on 24, I would say to 35, and there are many colleagues who still fly and retire as chief cabins and everything, but they enjoy it, and this is a very I am little going about since you asked this question. The only thing what you do is you fly, come back, sleep, enjoy, go back, sleep. This pattern will make you very monotonous after many years. You're not
Yeah.
learning it. That's it. There is nothing else you can do. So it's like, working as a Fauji, you come back, you don't know. When you retire, you don't know. But still, I mean, so that is only disadvantage I see.
Mm.
When you want to get into routine work, because there is no schedule for us. Today's morning, 9 o'clock. tomorrow is a night flight. So you once you get back to this normal 9 to 6, it is a problem. So otherwise, it's a good industry to work. I think you can ask Ranjini also. I've been talking.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, this brings me to the next question. Every time it's been one of my dreams to train people either in aviation or hospitality industry, but then every time I think about it, I have a feeling like it needs something more than what I have now. Something beyond a corporate IT training experience, something beyond a language trainer certification. So, what could be that something that actually is needed to train people in aviation or hospitality industry? Ranjini, you can.
Ranjini can take it.
Sure, Binu. Thank you so much. So, yes, Bala. So, I've had the opportunity to, in fact, train the Air India staff very recently, I think 6 to 7 months, no, 1 year ago,
Hmm.
when the merger happened between Vistara and Air India.
Okay.
Like Vinu said, the modules, the curriculum that they have, especially for, the stewards and the cabin crew, is amazing. It's simply amazing. Yeah. We are very meticulous when it comes to training for every department. You have your sales; they have a meticulous, a training a curriculum. Yeah, for ground staff, customer support, they have a separate training curriculum. So every department has an exclusive training modules and a well vetted curriculum that is offered to them. Yeah. So coming back to that question of yours saying, what should we as trainers have? I think we are all very, I mean, when it comes to communication, we are really good at it. One thing that might help us, especially training the hospitality industry and exclusively the airlines, is the interpersonal skills. Yeah. Because that is the one that makes us stand out of the crowds. I'm not using in the crowd, I'm using of the crowd for a reason. Because unless and until we prove that we can connect empathetically with
Hmm.
our customers, with our flyers, we will not be able to survive in this industry. Correct me if I'm wrong,
No, no, you're
because
right. Absolutely right, Ranjini. Yeah.
on ground, on air, wherever it is, we will have to have that connection with our customers, with our flyers. So I think that is what makes the airline industry look very, luxurious, if I may use the word. Because the first time when I joined, this is way back in 2004. So when I joined, the minute I said I work with Jet Airways, everybody's eyes would pop out and they say, "How did you even get it? How did you even make it there?" So but then, I mean, that's the kind of impression that an airline industry has created amongst everyone. uh, so I think interpersonal skills, if the trainer is really good with that, with soft skills, with training soft skills, yeah, I think that should make the trainer amazingly, you know, capable of handling trainings with the airline industry.
Wonderful. Binu, would you like to add anything to that?
No, no, she said it very right. It's interpersonal skills. And,
Mm,
see, every business now, see, imagine I have been working before I became a dual L&D professional. I'm working into IT, totally in IT. What they took me is because of this interpersonal skills. I didn't have any idea of technology. All I knew was domain. Okay.
mm,
So the domain knowledge with the technology. So domain knowledge, I was there. I was good. I could consult with them and everything. But imagine, and it's like teaching technical things to a non-technical person. The only
mm,
way I can get some information to open, get an a communication coming in is only because interpersonal skills. Because we have to work with a lot of egoistic people. We have to pamper it. This is what we learned from your airline industry. Because we have people coming in, we see a lot of famous people. They are very okay, but then there are all of a sudden somebody who's just there, we don't know even, but he'll create a big tantrum, he'll create escalations, and we are lucky, me and Rajini is little lucky that we are not working in that social media now. In the sense, those days, Otherwise, imagine I see people working in the industry, they just put a comment, and that can really, I mean, take your career out of those things, and people are very much in demanding no patience. So luckily we are not in that era. People are okay. We got the shoutings and everything, but we could manage. Correct, Anjani? If that
Very
the
true,
case,
very true. I mean, see, especially when bad weather is Delhi. I mean, I'll just give you an example. Delhi weather and Delhi mist is something that we all know, and most of the connecting flights start from Delhi, and there are a lot of connecting flights, which means the delay because of the fog, there is a dominoes effect in all the sectors. Yeah, in spite of passengers knowing that that's because of the delay, we would have people screaming out their lungs, at the top of their voice, as though we were the ones who have delayed the flight. But
exactly.
still, what we had to do was, Balaji, we could not retaliate that anger, right? So we always had to have that smile, always. So I think that's something that has changed our perspective because they are traveling for a purpose and there is a delay, and we put ourselves in their shoes to understand what they're going through. I think that the basic setup in the mind was tuned or fine tuned by the airline. In line with what Binu was saying about, about celebrities and all of that, let me give you an example. I mean, just an anecdote that this happened. This was in Coimbatore, okay, and I used to work at the Coimbatore airport. I think this was sometime in 2005. One of the now superstars of Tamil industry, one of the greatest, loved by all, star celebrity of the Tamil industry, was a budding artist then. Okay, and he had his first son born. He was shooting out of Ooty. He had to reach back to Chennai. Okay, it was an evening flight. Our flight departure was around 8:10, 8:15, if I recall right. So it was a deserted airport because evening flights, it's a smaller aircraft. It was an ATR. It was only a 72-seater. This gentleman, he walks up to the counter, the ticketing counter, picks up a ticket for himself. No battalion behind him, only him. I'm not talking about these like what Vinu mentioned. If social media existed then, even before the celebrity reached, there would have been a convoy waiting for him, right? So this gentleman walks into the ticketing counter, picks his ticket at the airport counter, walks into the check-in counter, gets him checked in, and he says, "Please congratulate me. I've just had a son."
So
Wow.
sweet.
We were take. I still think about it, and he is. I'm not exaggerating. I can probably give you the name later.
I know the
I
name.
mean,
I would love to.
yeah.
I know the name. I sensed it.
He's like one of the most celebrated celebrities today. I mean, there are people waiting, and that was the time that we enjoyed working. Now I don't know, probably because of the social media impact and the pressure and all of that. It is changed. Days have changed, and I think I'm sure our colleagues who still work at the airport and with the airlines have a different approach to such hangamas, if I could call it.
Yeah.
So
See, those
yes,
days
that's
we
humbled
always,
us a lot.
yeah, yeah. So those days, we were taught like one simple thing. I don't, customer is the king. Treat him as a
Exactly.
king. Correct. But nowadays, the customer also has sometimes, we treat him as a king, but they misuse that privilege. So that is where the lot of conflicts comes in. That is also there,
They
you know.
ask us where the throne is. Where is the Kohinoor on the throne?
Correct. So, the customer
Well,
relations in our yourselves have changed, but then
mm,
we have to manage it. So that's
It's
just,
not only
yeah.
our customers, Balaji. It was not
mm,
only J-Airways customers. So we used to share the lounge, the waiting lounge, right?
true.
So we had international passengers traveling to Sharjah using the Air India flight. We used to have Air Sahara, the passengers of Air Sahara, passengers of Air Deccan,
Mm.
passengers of Kingfisher. They were all seated in the same lounge. They all shared the same lounge. So, like the constructive competition that we had to show that, we are the best in the industry. So we all had that competition with us. But again, after that flight went off, we all went to tea together. That also happened.
Beautiful.
So it was lovely working. I still enjoy, I mean, cherish those days, and we're still in touch with many of them.
Wonderful. Well, Binu, you started with aviation. I mean, you started with hospitality, then aviation, and then IT. And why did you choose training?
Wow, that's a very good question. So when I was very, very good question. So I never knew I had this intention of training people because it started with Quaterways, where this is a buddy concept. No? New employees comes in like Ranjini also has it. That's what she was very good to us, guiding us, helping us without any. We all have that. We don't look for any. So that was there. Unknowingly, unknowingly it was there. So I used to train a lot of people in buddy trainings, inside the cabin. So even though there was not designated train the trainer programs, so I used to be a very sought after trainer. With a lot of nationalities used to come, so I used to do that. So that was there in my thing, and I wanted to make a career those days, but then I never got a chance. So I shifted to IT also. In my IT also, I wanted to get in. I tried, but then they said since you are doing good in something else, they don't want to change. That's again, any of it. So COVID has played a big role in my own lives and everything.
Mm,
So and I was living in suitcases with even after my career-based things, since I was in IT industry, where I was doing more role of accounts management, business analysis, and all those things. I was traveling up and down. So I was also feeling little. I want a break because I was missing
mm,
my family, and it is getting a boredom. And again, these mentorships used to happen here and there. So I thought when I worked with the other side, I understood that there are a lot of gap. I'm not saying that, and one point made a thing is for me, if I take it personally, I never had any gurus or mentors. If I had someone, I would have made it big,
mm,
to very honestly speaking. I just fell in and learned from my mistakes.
mm,
And I've come from a very small back village in Kerala, and North English is also very not very fluent. So all these things, I realized that maybe after COVID, the entire industry was totally in a bad shape. So I don't want to get back to the industry. I wanted to try this, and I need a break. I took it. That's what it happened,
great.
and I thought my experience can make some difference in somebody's life. That is what all
Yes.
about.
It certainly is making a difference to a lot of people. I have met some of them for sure.
Wow.
Well, Ranjini, why did you choose training?
Okay. So after my stint with the airline industry, like you said earlier during my introduction, I moved into banking. And then I moved into the British Council. Yeah, this was way back in 2010. But even at the, I mean, even when with the airline, like said, we always had this buddy system. Though we had a proper curriculum in place, those trainings would happen. But then, we had to train, or we had to buddy up with our peers, and we were working as a team. Yeah. So even, I mean, from then, I've always had this passion to train and teach. So once I joined British Council, I think somewhere in 2010, the academic manager then was Mr. Richard Frost. Yeah. And I worked for the customer support then when I joined the British Council. But the impact that Richard left in even as a customer service staff was something that is still, it still rings. Yes. So that's when, after about 3 or 4 months, that's when I decided I'll do the CELTA. This was in 2010. And after 11 years, my dream came true. So I had to,
Uh,
wait for those 11 years.
Lovely.
And then I had to complete my cert. But then the learning on the job, a lot of trainings during, as a customer service agent, we had a huge team where, new people joined. So we had to train them, we had to take them through the process and all of that. So that was always, I think, a part of it. Like how
Mm.
you said, riding is my passion. I think training is also my passion, and I'm happy that it's become a profession now.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm sure it's as I told Binu, it's benefiting a lot of people, and I have met some of them. I have had a chance to shadow your sessions as well and learn from them. So thank you so much. And yes, you reminded me of my journey also. I sent around 30 to 35 applications to British Council, and finally I got selected. 3 months later, we had the lockdown, and I had to choose or life gave me this opportunity of getting into freelancing after that.
But I
Um,
would say, like how Jet Airways changed my perspective to my thought about life, British Council plays a major role in shaping me to the person who I am today, both professionally, personally.
Absolutely.
It has been an amazing journey, and I think if I had to give the credits to both British Council and Jet Airways, I would say 40% is Jet Airways and 40% is British Council.
Great. So, now I have an important question. As a trainer, what is the biggest challenge that you have faced? So, I'd like to take inputs from both of you. Whoever is ready to start, just go ahead.
Would you like to go or can I go
Yeah,
ahead?
yeah. See, challenge. Yeah, you see, there are a lot of things we need to think about. First is audience. Okay. Now, like she has done corporate, I have done corporate training. The problem with it starts with their attitude, the mentality. Many people feel that they know everything, and it is very high nowadays because of everything is available in YouTube. This is from a seasoned campaigner to a new Gen Z who's coming to us. They say, why should I listen to Ranjini, Balaji, and Binu? Because everything is available. You take a module of time management. It is there. We are not saying anything. See, I always believe we all love movies, right? Right or wrong?
Yes,
Movies will
yes,
be the same. We have same whatever. We sell the emotions, correct?
yes,
But only thing how write a new script and deliver it matters. So isn't it? But people say we know about it, and it is again it is there. So attitude is a bigger problem. So getting the people that mindset of learning is one thing. People don't understand the value of training. They think they know everything. That's the biggest challenge I have faced. I think Ranjini would add to it. So when the mind is not open, we can't get into the mind to do something. That's what in psychology we say get into the subconscious mind, change it and do it.
yes,
So unless they cooperate with us, nothing happens. It becomes just basically for the records. It makes for the management records. We have done training, no results coming in, and training is an ongoing process. With one day, nothing happens, boss.
of course.
It has to be only effective when it's going on a cycle.
Yeah, great.
Correct. So that's why we
Thank
take on this. Maybe Reggie can add further.
thank you. Okay.
So, I mean, I partly agree with because these days everything is available at the tip of the fingers. So, generally, what happens is they have this thing, like said, yes, why should I listen to them? What would they give me? What value can they add that some influencer who has about 20K followers cannot give? Yeah, so validation comes from the number of followers that we have these days. So that's something that, yes, of course. But on the same at the same time, I think there are people and there are students who really want to learn it from the experience that trainers bring to the classroom. So generally, like there's a saying in Hindi, if I may use it. It actually it goes like I'll translate it to the best of my knowledge. It says, "The grays in my hair are not because of the heat of the sun."
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's actually out of the experience that I've gained, and that's how I carry that experience into every class that we that we go into, right? So, but there are some there are some really interested students, but I think approximately a percentage of I don't know, 60%, I feel, they are ready to unlearn and relearn. I think that's again something the airline industry has taught us is as us to be constant learners every day, like how we learn people, the how
Very
we
true.
learn
Very true.
customers every day, right? So there we started unlearning and relearning.
Exactly.
Every day was a cycle of unlearning and relearning, and that's what we carry throughout. So when I meet a new team of people, that's exactly what I tell them. Whatever you've learned so far, say if it's a corporate, I mean, if it's a college campus to corporate program, I tell them whatever was good or whatever you thought was professional for the college life might not fit in the shoes that you're going to be wearing now when you're entering into the corporate. So that unlearning and relearning has to happen. And I think, yes, most of them try to get that understanding. They understand it's okay. She's got something and she has to share it. So yes, I partly agree with what Binu says.
Thank
There are
you.
two more areas that I would consider as a challenge, especially because I'm a communication trainer and I'm trained to teach English to adults in a country which is a non-English speaking country. Now, our curriculum takes English as a subject. Yeah, and suddenly when they are ready for their career, it there's a shift, there's a huge shift which says it's not a subject, it's a language. Communication plays a major role, and they need to understand that they will have to emote uh, in a language that they've not used so far. So they've got to get used to that and get acclimatized to the use of the language. So that's definitely a challenge. Another thing that I found challenging is to get them to think in English. That'll never happen. I mean, even after like 40, 30 years of experience, we still, when we think in our native languages, right?
True.
But whenever I've seen our the mentors and their uh, uh, coaches, what they say is start thinking in English. It is something that's, I feel it's ridiculous, right? So getting that across, that message across, I think that is now the ELT, the clan. Now we've understood that that is something that we need to let go of. Yeah, I think mother tongue influence. Obviously, there will be mother tongue influence, but how do we minimize it to make the communication clear? I think that's something that the ELT clan is looking at. Yes, these are some of the challenges, and like Binu said, different students from different backgrounds. It's gonna be difficult,
And
especially from the
mm,
tier three
many
cities.
trainers and not just trainers, also managers, everyone, the moment you say it's going to be a Gen Z team, a lot of them take several steps back. So, what? What? I mean, you cannot eliminate them. They are going to be a part of the workforce sooner or later. You cannot have an entire generation that doesn't work. So they are anyway going to be a part of it. So, how can trainers connect with Gen Zs?
Trainers can't adapt to the current scenario, then they're not trainers. If they can't train themselves to fit in to what is called the normalcy, the current normal, I don't think they are good trainers at all because
Mm,
it is not about who you train.
mm,
That should never be the trainer's perspective. We
mm.
should have a mixed group of, I'm sure you would agree, Balaji, in our uh, uh, courses at
Setup.
the British
Mm.
Council. In our courses at the British Council, we've had people, who were like elderly adults who
Yes.
were like almost like 60s
Yes.
in the same class,
Yes.
right? We had people of different generations in the same class. So as a trainer, I don't think we should have any bias,
Mm,
whether gender or age or whatever it is, when it comes to our audience.
mm.
I think that's something. If if there's something wrong, then there's fundamentally something wrong there. That's my take on
Beautifully
it.
put.
I leave it to Binu.
Yeah, Binu, any other inputs? You're on mute, Binu.
No, Ranjini has said everything. I also fully agree to because we can't be, it's just like I said, I always compare with movies. I have
Hmm.
to create a movie for all audience, right? So basically, the training is has to be accepted. I can't just create for one, so or maybe ask for the audience, or maybe
Hmm. Hmm.
sometimes you have to tailor it also. So I have to accept it what it is. I can't say that I will not perform in front of this audience, that audience. So my job is
Yeah.
to perform. I have to perform.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ranjani, you are a language trainer as well. When corporates go for hiring, to what extent should they give importance to proficiency of the language of their candidates?
It's a lovely question. Okay. Proficiency of a language. Now, I don't expect them to have a CEFR
Hmm,
and
hmm,
do it by that. But I believe on, and when I've been asked about it, I always tell them, do they have the capability or do they have the capacity to communicate whatever they want to? Are they able to communicate their thoughts with their emotions uh, in an appropriate way professionally? I think that is what matters. And that's exactly what I tell when I've been consulted on certain certain roles,
hmm,
because at customer service levels they are directly involved with talking to the customer every day. So
hmm,
that job profile will have a different communication um criteria altogether. The rubrics of that is different. So when it comes to someone who's going to be working technically, yeah, they might have to communicate more with the internal stakeholders, the internal customers
hmm,
between departments. So their rubrics is going to be different. So what I generally tell them is they'll have to have whatever they have to say, they'll have to say it effectively.
hmm.
Communication must be effective. But do you want to have to? Do you want to have a? I mean, do you want a C2 or a C1 for that particular job? I don't think that would fit everyone.
Wonderful. Binu, you are a career counselor as well. At
Yeah.
what age do you think students should go for career counseling?
I think, the best thing is they should start it because nowadays eighth standard would be the right time. So
Hmm,
you start with, then they can take it to 10th and eighth you start one session, then they will have an idea. So 10th will be in another, that's the 10th will be then. Again, if they need one more at 12th.
hmm,
So, these are the crucial years. You can take a break because people have too many things. Eighth is the right time to do that. Because that time also kids will not be very clear about it. We can give them knowledge about what are the things there in the market. So they have an idea. 10, they will be much more clear. And 12, they can, if they need, they can have it. But nowadays, I do a lot of executive career coaching, the other
hmm,
things. But like I've done career coaching for the students, but
hmm,
many of them have landed somewhere, they've come back to us, help us.
hmm.
So that is what passion also got into my head.
And when I completed engineering, one of the professors or someone who came for a guest lecture said, when you graduate, the person who is entering the first year would say, whatever you are thinking is outdated. You're just 3 years
Exactly.
elder to that person, and
Exactly.
he's going to say you are outdated. And today, this after this AI intervention, I think the
Oh,
jobs change almost every year. So, as you said, I think once in 2 years they'll have to check whether not only their interest but also the opportunities that are available. What do you see in the what kind of changes do you expect in the job market in the future, Binu? Anytime soon?
oh, that's a very difficult question to answer. As of now, everybody is after AI and machine
Yeah,
learning.
absolutely.
But I believe AI has also limitations. The
Mm,
limitations are basically, no, everything is available. And
mm,
it is also helpful for us also to work on. So early days, we used to sit and work on a content. Now you sit it up in this thing, get the right thing,
correct.
use our brain, mix
Mm,
it and match and do that. But I think, from my experience, I say, you, there is no creativity which I can use through AI. And you understand creative in the sense I'm expecting you to show some creativity. How will AI understand your creativity? So basically, I have to work with you and get your creative. Same thing what we do, asking to do a chart,
mm,
giving an option, right? That AI will not do it. I don't know whether the example is right or wrong. So we can sometimes, you can, give some, suggestions to improve upon it. There are a lot of, seeing both of your language trainers. Yesterday, one of our colleagues had posted something in the group, which is really interesting. That a group of students or associates have done that exercise, spinning a wheel, creating a sentence. That came from their mind. That AI will not give it. That's what
mm,
this example I just want to share with it. So basically, in the mentorship, the real life applications, sharing our experience, if they value it, next like, can be only way we can mitigate AI challenges. Otherwise, everything is available. We also have to get updated. We also have to be a little more, technology is changing. So we also have to have some hand thing to it. I don't know it's easy or not. Time will say.
Absolutely.
I think Ranjini can add from her point whether I
Yeah,
am right or not.
I had this question: is AI going to take away trainers' jobs, or is it going to raise the standards? And I think you answered that in a very clear manner. Ranjini, I'd like to hear your inputs and also know how you use AI.
Haha.
So, okay, if I had to, I agree with what Binu mentioned about the creativity going down the drain, because when everything is available, they just have to, sit back. Uh, Prompt engineering is what is happening these days,
Prompt
right?
engineering, I
So
agree. Yeah.
very, very true that happens. But what I feel that is no, trainers are not going to be replaced. But
Hmm.
what we as trainers have to do is
Hmm.
embrace AI because that's the way forward. Like you said, Bala, 4 years. If when we were in the fourth year, the first years will look at us like aliens, or they would say you're outdated. Now it happens month on month. If
Yes.
it's like last month I knew a particular language, or I knew a particular technology, and this month that's been upgraded to completely a different one, which I will have to upgrade myself, upskill myself to be available in the market. So I think that's it's becoming like an everyday a rat race, literally a rat race. But yeah, I think we all need to embrace that and understand that that's going to be the way forward. How do we make full use of the technology that's available? 15 years before, we did not think that we would have a router,
Hmm.
right, in the middle of the
Absolutely.
house, and everybody would have access to internet. 15, 20 years before, no, we were running to our, what were they called? Web cafes.
Yeah, yeah, the cyber cafes,
Cyber
the
cafes, yes.
or
So
browsing
we were
centers.
running there, right? Browsing centers, exactly. And I still remember we used to wait for that particular
Queue.
cubicle to be,
Yeah.
right? So today we are like everything is like, we've also evolved as individuals, we will evolve as professionals, we've evolved. I think we will, as trainers, we will just keep evolving, and we will keep learning everything that is thrown our way, and we will adapt to whatever is coming in. But there will never be a day, at least that's what I think, where we will be replaced by AI if we embrace it.
Wonderful.
I think,
So,
And
yes. Sir.
yeah, just to add, basically AI will help us to give some personalized learnings.
Hmm.
Basically we can create a content that matching his own, learning capability possible. I don't know, we are not exposed to that.
Hmm.
And then a lot of data-driven information will really help us to, really
Hmm.
understand the associates. I think that all can be, and we can make it a little more interactive. The gamification, everything is there with AI and everything. So the boring lectures, because this not only Gen Zs, everybody has this problem of attention span, no? So maybe with,
Yes.
isn't it? And I'm not blaming Gen Z alone. Even we
Yeah,
have it
true. I
because of the.
agree.
So maybe that all can be that challenges can be changed. I mean, mitigated. That's what I think, but I'm not sure about it. That's my wild guess.
I always tell my Gen Zs it's 45 seconds. The length of a reel is what our attention span now is, right?
Correct.
Uh, and if we don't, if it isn't interesting, all we do is swipe up,
Hmm.
right? This 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 habit of swiping doesn't happen in the class. So I tell them you don't have an option to swipe up here.
Mm.
So you are better pull up your socks and start working for yourself.
Correct.
True.
And moreover, no, AI doesn't recognize your achievements, do they? So it has to us who have to give the achievements.
But no, I kind of
I don't know.
no no, I would like to add something here. There's this recent trend about 2 months back. There was a recent trend of asking an AI
Mm-hmm.
tool to generate a picture based on what it knows about me,
Hmm.
about
Mhm.
us. Yeah. So I was actually thrilled to understand what does this particular AI tool know about me. Would you believe it? It had every detail, every detail of what were the different searches that I had used AI for.
Oh,
That
Okay.
picture had everything.
Okay.
right from bikes to my content to some accessories that we were looking at some a year and a half back, right from that. So that's when I thought, oh my God, my data is stored somewhere. I forgot that I had asked AI for this particular question, but the
Hmm.
data was stored somewhere.
Understand. I
Oh,
think, yeah, the trainers can bring a lot of human touch, no? Maybe giving feedbacks, encouraging
absolutely.
them,
Yes.
showing some empathy, a lot of things which cannot AI cannot do that. Okay.
Very
So
true.
I
that's
Very
what
true.
I think. Yeah.
I often think about this every time we call customer service. We don't like to hear that voice that says press one for this. We just want to talk to a human being.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
connect
yeah.
me
That
with
is always a
this.
problem too. When they don't get the
The
right answer.
IVR, very true. The IVR, oh my gosh. It can go on forever. No? Some of the
Mhm.
IVRs just go on forever. Press one, press
I-
two, press nine.
I'd agree. So, well, here is my last question to both of you. If someone wants to get into the field of training now, okay, so I think when I got into the field of training 10 years ago, it was totally different. I got inspired by my trainers. I got into it because I wanted to do what they were doing. And not everything was on the internet. It was still there. It was search engine was available, but today it's a different world. So if someone wants to get into the field of training today, what would be your advice to them? What can they do to start? How can they identify certain things? Like what kind of things can they do? Whom would they like to train? What topics would they like to teach? How to figure this out? And how to make sure they find a job as well. Yeah.
Would you like to go or should I?
Right. Please, Ranjini, please. I've
Oh,
been.
no worries. So,
You.
like I said, Vala, I think the only thing that I would tell new trainers if they want to come into training, if they want to choose training as their career path, is do it only if you're passionate about it.
Absolutely.
If you're passionate towards training, then make it your profession.
Hmm.
Because it is not as easy and as you know pompous as it looks from the outside. I think you all will agree with me as well on this.
Hmm.
So unless and until they are passionate about training, they should probably take this up as their career. Now, the area where they should probably train, which is the area that they should train, I think that's an individual's call as to which is their area of expertise.
Hmm.
Someone's good at language, someone's good at technical, someone's good at non-technical, professional skills, soft skills. Be it they have these image consultants as well, so people do image training as well. So whichever is their forte, I would suggest that they venture into that particular area of their expertise and take that as their training avenue. To answer your third question, who should the audience be?
Hmm.
Yeah, uh, that's something that I would want anyone who is willing to take up training to think about is do not have a set mindset saying only
Hmm.
these have to be my audience. You should be I give this as an example in my classes. You should be able to present the Pythagoras theorem to a UKG student. You should be able to train the ninth standard students as well as second year civil aviation, students, or even people who've had like 10 years of experience. The topic is the same, but how do we tweak it for our audience should vary, and I think that's where the trainer plays a major role. So we should never have a mindset or a fixed mindset saying, if I have these audience, I will train.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I might not be comfortable. No, that's not a trainer attitude. That's not a trainer perspective. Yeah.
Wonderful.
To answer your fourth question, which is where do we find the job? It's a huge market.
Hmm.
It's a huge market. So I think once we sharpen our brains, once our knives are ready to cut, it's only about getting ourselves prepared.
Hmm.
Once we are prepared, it's a huge market. They will be able to find opportunities anywhere and everywhere. Yeah, because especially now with the remote work culture,
Hmm.
thanks to the pandemic, I think the entire globe is within the 10 by 10 room
Hmm.
that we. So I think the opportunities are humongous. So it's huge. So
Great.
once we are ready for it, opportunities will follow.
Wonderful. Thank you for categorically answering all those questions very clearly.
It was good
Uh,
remembering all the four things point
yeah,
by point. The teacher
yeah,
in her is
exactly.
really excellent. I was wondering, I appreciate it, Ranjini. Good, good.
Thank you, Vishnu. Thank you,
Okay,
Bala.
well, Binu, anything to any
No,
suggestions from your
I have
side?
only one word to say. If you want
Mhm.
to become a trainer, train or facilitate from the heart.
Yes,
Okay,
the passion.
that makes a lot of difference. If you're not enjoying the process, don't do it because you are playing with other people's life. So if you're
Couldn't
Exactly.
agree.
passionate about it, and don't expect the results to be very rosy or whatever,
Mhm.
right? Right or wrong. So
I
you
don't
have
want to
to,
use the word lucrative, but yes,
yeah.
that's why I said
So
be
yeah.
passionate about training.
So you may get some appreciation, you may not get some appreciation. Go with the current, and you do your trust the process.
Hmm.
That's it.
Hmm.
That's the only thing. And with all the blessings of good souls like you all, or with the candidates and everything, we'll also have a good ride. That's what my positive thought process. Yeah.
I think I've always been blessed to work with colleagues like you all, not just because you're here, but honestly, even if you are not here, I would say the same thing. I mean, it's always this passion that we share as trainers, bring the like minded people together. And we not only enjoy the process, we also enjoy working with each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
Yes.
think that matters. That matters a lot when it comes to trainers. Teamwork has to be a part of our chromosomes. Otherwise, it's
Uh,
going to be it's going to
Very
be a
true.
little difficult. Yeah, empathy has to be in the strand. Teamwork has to be in the strand. Agility has to be in the strand. I think when we have
And
all
like
of
I
these,
said, the
it's
first point, respect, engineer, respect,
mhm.
and the
very true, very true, very
transparency,
true, very
transparency.
true, very true.
Be
Binu. I
open and
completely agree.
transparent. Yeah. That is,
I
we are
completely.
also trying to inculcate that mindset in youngsters now, which is they are lacking in Gen Zs. They don't have any, they don't, introspect. They don't, I mean, it's just a general state. Don't take it as a general statement, but
Yes.
then that is where we have to start. The values and beliefs has to be inculcated, and starting from there, we have
I
to.
think their point of view is different from
Mm.
what we see, right? I mean, and their I mean, I have a Gen Z at home. I have a
Me too.
Alpha
Me
at
too.
Alpha.
home. So I have a Gen Alpha also at home. So I see the difference between Gen Z and Gen Alpha. It's huge.
Oh, really?
So it's huge. I mean, the difference between these two is huge. Then just imagine between millennials and Gen Z. It's something I think that we will have to understand. Yes, this is the way forward, and we will have to kind of
Correct. Yeah.
give it to
Adapt.
them. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, we will
And
have to adapt and let them also to adapt.
and as Binu touched upon this aspect of results, I wanted to ask this as well. Trainers sometimes feel very demotivated when they when they don't achieve those desired learning outcomes in their sessions. And we had a blessing when we did our CELTA, which was called reflections and peer reflections and so on. What do you think, Ranjini, people should do, trainers should do when they feel like they haven't achieved the learning outcomes that they wanted to achieve?
One thing that I've learned, I mean, one thing I think our CELTA tutors also told us is set the expectations right,
Hmm.
right? So setting the expectations right, not just for our students, but also for us.
Ah.
When I have a team of A1,
Hmm.
after, let's say, even after like 6 months, I can't expect them to become C2s,
Of course. Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I will have to set my expectation right, like, okay, from an A1 to A2 in 6 months is achievable.
Hmm.
But as a trainer, if I had to stand out, I could probably take them to B1. So I, as a trainer, need to understand who my audience are, what do they already know, where can I add value, and how do I uh, assess them, or how do I move them from that particular stage to the next, or the next after, the one after that. So as a trainer, I think the first thing that I learned or my tutors taught me is setting expectations not only for our audience, but you will also have to set expectations for yourself as a trainer. I think that has helped me a lot, Bala.
Wonderful. Binu, anything to
Wonderful.
add here?
No, that's the one point. She's very clear, and we should also, because very clear and assertive about it. That is one thing. The second thing is, every time when you go out, we can't expect the result to be positive. You have to, it's we are one thing. Let me tell you, we are maybe sometimes we're very emotional, and we
Hmm.
see that results are not coming in. You slowly have to train your mind that any results, take it as it is. Any win is not a great win. Any
Hmm.
loss is not a great loss. So we have to
True.
train. All of us. I mean, that's what general thing. Sometimes we feel very dejected, and we are all human beings. We all get feel about it. But we need to train our mind saying that, yeah, that's okay. Go back and go into the drawing board, do something different, keep ourselves motivation. And the biggest fear of all of us is that we get demotivated soon,
Hmm.
or because when the results are not there, there are a lot of I don't know, treatment meted out to us is not matching our expectations. So we need to. I learned that off late. I'm just trying to, and I think that should be the case for everyone. So we should be trying to don't not to get demotivated. Vent it out to somebody else, share it out. Don't make it very negative so that you don't get into training. But
Yeah.
share the good points, bad points,
Yeah.
that's way.
Like he said, it has to be balanced, right? Unless
Hmm.
and until we balance it externally and internally as well, as trainers, we will lose our EQs. Right?
Correct.
True.
Our balance, our EQ balance will go for a toss. Another thing that actually motivates, I mean at times we might feel that we've not done
Hmm.
justice to what we've worked on. The thing about what I feel about a trainer's uh, achievement on in a class of say 20, yeah, even if one person, even if there's one person who can talk about a good training that we've conducted and how that has changed,
Hmm.
yeah, and how that has changed them, I think that's a huge achievement. I
I
think,
agree.
Correct.
and especially when these kiddos, I mean, when these students, they write mails and they convey what has happened, what has changed in them. I feel like I am sitting on a throne with a huge crown, and I'm like grinning. I feel so happy. I think
Hmm.
that's about it. Some days, some bad days, some good days, and
Yeah.
we just have to balance it out.
Wonderful.
Keep, when there's a good fraternity and good training crowd, you keep motivating each other. And, the only thing, this thing, they should learn. We can also learn each from, we can also collaborate. Nobody is perfect. Everybody is, it's a learning,
Absolutely.
sharing the knowledge. So there is no competition. You
Hmm.
compete for yourself. So, in the sense, not with me or somebody else. So, that concept also will give you more motivation, which I feel. Learn from each other. Nobody is perfect.
Absolutely. I think we need to have our, sometimes even at office, we have to kind of have someone as our cushions.
Correct.
Definitely.
Otherwise, it becomes very difficult. Yeah.
I
And
agree.
yes, learning from each other, I think we do it. It's, I think, a part of our chromosomes.
Yeah, I agree. Very well. Thank you very much, Ranjini and Binu, for taking time to be here. It's a long weekend, and despite that, both of you spared time to be here to share all your insights. Thank you so much for sharing a lot of valuable inputs with us here today.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Pleasure, pleasure.
Balaji. It's a pleasure for me and and Ranjini, I guess so, because we never expected it and it was just happened. And thank you. I'm very fortunate to be here and share our own thoughts. And hopefully it will work for you and the audience which is hearing for a better future. All right.
Thank
Stay
you.
blessed.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Binu.
We don't get an opportunity like this to talk about our passions, right? Both of us,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we share passions about our aviation industry and about our training. So not many opportunities where we share our passions. And thank you so much, Bala, for this
Thank you.
lovely
And
opportunity,
yeah,
for this
you're welcome.
wonderful platform to, to share what the actuals are and to tell people about how they can groom themselves, how they can fetch a career in this particular field. I think you just made the day beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you
made
so
us all
much. It
again.
was
Correct.
lovely talking.
Thank you. Thank
It
you
was
very
Okay.
much.